He led his country when President George W. Bush dubbed Iran part of the axis of evil. Rafael Epstein, hello. Many in the West believe he represents those moderate Iranian politicians keen to negotiate with the West.
I would like to speak clearly to Iran's leaders.
He praised President Obama's statement last week seeking openings with Iran.
For sure, the coming of Obama was a new phenomenon in America. This change was very exciting. However, we have to wait and see how fundamental this change will be. For the betterment of America itself, Europe, and the Third World, America needs to feel like a brother and a friend, rather than a big brother and master.
Iran's nuclear program is the biggest source of friction with the West. Some estimate that it nearly has enough nuclear material to convert into a weapon. More tough sanctions are being prepared in case diplomacy fails. Mr. Khatami says Iran has nothing to fear from more international inspections because it's a member of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and that too often informal negotiations have been sidelined by the US.
The problem that Europeans and US have is that they consider Iran as a problem rather than a solution. In fact, Iran is a country with which many problems can be solved. Unfortunately, the Europeans hesitated at the time when we were in informal negotiations. They hesitated too long, and that led to a pessimism in Iran.
Mohamed Khatami was thought to be the most popular candidate for presidential elections due in June, but he dropped out of the race in favour of another reformist candidate. He had a veiled dig at the current more hardline president, saying some in Iran believe you can't have security and human rights at the same time. I think freedom is the basis for security and will stabilize security. However, there is another school of thought in Iran. If freedom becomes universal, the country will be subjected to many threats and foreign interventions. There may also have been a dig at the country's ultimate authority, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who many believe opposed much of Mr. Khatami's proposed reforms. When I was president, the press had more freedom. It could be that after me, there had been more limitations. On Afghanistan, Iran's former president may be willing to talk to President Obama, but he says any troop boost from the US or Australia will not help to stabilize Iran's neighbor, that the military cannot be the solution. I think this approach did not work so far and will not work. If instead of effort in stabilizing the military forces and increasing them had been directed towards rebuilding Afghanistan and helping the central government, it would have worked better. The military approach cannot work. I don't tell other countries what to do. What I say is that the existence of the foreign forces so far did not create security. Many Jewish groups say the other litmus test for the Iranian regime is its support for those who deny the Holocaust. Mohamed Khatami says he's never been a Holocaust denier and that anti-Semitism only happens in Europe. The Holocaust was a reality that happened in Europe, and in my opinion it was a tragedy. And today any act similar to the Holocaust should be condemned, no matter where, whether it is anti-Semitism happening in Europe or actions against the downtrodden people of Africa, in Palestine against the Palestinians, and anywhere that an act of genocide is happening. He's
Melbourne to speak at La Trobe University's Centre for Dialogue.
و امیدوارم که شاهد روابط مستحکم‌تر میان ملت خوب استرالیا.
I want to express my respect to the good people of Australia, and I'm very pleased that I have visited your good and beautiful country.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry to take up so much. In Australia, he met